Hi everyone, welcome to Buckle Up Podcast. I'm Natalia Earl and I'm a certified business and life coach that loves talking to people. I'm fascinated by humans and how our brain works. What is it that makes a decision good or bad, and how does that decision ultimately shape our path and destiny? Everyone loves to talk about success, but what about the flip side? How about adversity? Failure is such a big and often necessary part of life, and it's simply unavoidable. So I invite you to join me on this inspiring, honest, unpolished interview show with breathtakingly real conversations that go deep on setbacks and hardships that are part of the puzzle that ultimately lead to growth, discovery of inner greatness, and what makes us resilient. Grab your helmet and buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But what a ride it will be. Today's guest, Paul Aramouni, is a young hearing-impaired aspiring author with a published fictional murder mystery novel called The Truth of the Unknown Interpreter. He has decided to write a book that explains a little bit of what it's like to have his condition. Paul grew up at first to become an electrical engineer, but due to different scene of events, he became an entrepreneur, and that has been his passion ever since.
The real inspiration that came from this book is that the boy that moved from one country to another to run away from his problems, he's hard of hearing. I don't know if I said that already. I am hard of hearing, and my whole life I was in a deaf and hard of hearing program, the DHH. In middle school, I was in this assigned school that I had to go to, and I had interpreters. I had an amazing interpreter over there, um, and I had a not so great interpreter, and it was getting closer to my eighth grade year, or the end of the eighth grade year, and I was supposed to go to this assigned high school, but I didn't want to go there because I decided that I wanted to adjust my life to a much more hearing standard, if that makes sense. Like, I did not want to be with the deaf kids, anything associated with the deaf culture. I got that to happen for me. I moved to a different new school. So I went to a new school. I got everything perfectly fine for me. No hard of hearing affiliates, no interpreters, no nothing. But unfortunately, your records, everything from your past follows you. There's something called an IEP. It's a contract that really correlated to my disability, and that had to come with me. And unfortunately, I had an interpreter, but fortunately enough, she was an amazing interpreter, the best I've ever had. Later on my 10th grade year, in the beginning of my 10th grade year, unfortunately she had to go because there was was I interested in the candy selling business. Later on, I decided to write a book because I've always had a knack. I've always had a lot of creativity for writing. I was always so good at English. A lot of my peers hated English. I always had the good grades, so essays were no big deal for me. When I wrote my first book, I completed that in 7 months. I didn't have much of a social life. Every morning before school started, during lunch break, after school, just go to the library and write this book. This book called The Truth of the Unknown Interpreter. And it always, I would see outside in the courtyard, I would see people that would just sit by themselves, looking very gloom and just eating their sandwich and just with their headbuds and just minding their own business. It was only a matter of time before I wanted to end up like that person, the antisocial. I did not want to be like that guy. So I decided um to boost my insecurities levels higher. Like boost my security levels, and to like diminish it by keep forcing myself to go out there, because in my mind I kept saying to myself, like the only fear I have in life is being alone
Mhm.
and living alone and just dying alone. So I just force myself and talk to people. And although you're not always gonna hang out with the people that you want to hang out with, I just decided to go out of my way to hang out with the cool kids. Um, Frankly enough, on the first day of school, I was just standing on this line to go get a hamburger, and there were two athletes behind me. They were really tall and buff. They were just laughing, and I looked at them strangely, and then they looked at me like so stern, and then I just looked back at the line. And then I, I got my food. I went to sit down, and I was in the far left corner. So I mean, I feel like people with visual impairments get more respect in a way than hard of hearing people. And I just don't understand why hard of hearing people can't have the same respect. But I guess it's just, I mean, we're not that unique. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, that was just the toughest part. When I got to high school, everything was more easier. Everybody saw you equally. Um, Maybe some of the, I think it was just, they were just really picky or weird, but other than the guys, the women, they would look at me pretty weird, like in a strange look, because I was hard of hearing, and maybe they were just like stuck up or something. But I don't know if that's
Mhm.
just high school teenagers. But other than that, later on it got better, and I guess people are now more serious and mature about tolerating people nearby, and yeah. So
Yeah.
although I'm hard of hearing, that shouldn't really stop you from going out there making friends and whatnot. I feel like a lot of people would find the smallest level of bad part about them and turn it into the reason why no one's gonna like you. But it's not always the case. So you should just go out there and see for yourself. And yeah. So
Absolutely. I mean, you're an amazing, wonderful young man, and you have such a great personality and have so much to offer to people. And I,
so when I was in high school, 11th grade, I was selling candies. I would have my own like little business. Like I would have three people selling candy for me. Like I had a whole organization. It's like Narcos, but with candy. Um,
I love it.
so, so I would be making a lot of money. I made like $300 to $600 a week. That was crazy.
And what would you like to be most known for?
Um, I don't have anything right now, but I feel like everybody just everybody uses their disability to their advantage, or maybe that's just a mistake that everybody just makes it happen. Like first um handicapped person to do this, or like like a handicapped person that can do a backflip on a wheelchair over a ramp. That's like more viral than a professional dirt bike racer who can do backflips, like something unique you don't see often. There's a deaf guy who recently there was a deaf guy who was in a movie, and I forgot what the name was, but it was released in 2021. He won the Oscars. He was the first deaf guy to win the Oscars. That was really cool. So I guess in my case, the first hard of hearing person. I don't think there's any hard of hearing people out there that have gotten 10 million subscribers on YouTube, or got bestseller books, or I don't think there's ever been a deaf billionaire. I wouldn't mind getting that title. So yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, I would
For
like to be
sure.
well known for a few things. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
the number one is.